Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about North Korean human rights funding. All right, North Korean human rights funding increases. All right, it would lead to a stronger human rights movement outside of North Korea and potentially more information flowing into the country. However, it could also trigger an escalation of repression by the Kim regime in response. While direct aid to people inside North Korea is extremely difficult to achieve, increased funding would strengthen the organizations working to empower and support defectors and to document and publicize atrocities. Potential positive outcomes: expanded information access. More funding would allow for the expansion of programs that smuggle or broadcast outside information into North Korea. This would help break the regime's information monopoly, which it relies on to maintain control. Research has shown that marketization and flow of information are increasingly intertwined, which a more funded movement could capitalize on. Stronger defector support and empowerment. Increased funding could restore and expand support for North Korean escapees, including for therapy, counseling, and resettlement. Organizations could also enhance programs that train defectors to become advocates, strengthening their voice within the international community, improve documentation, and accountability efforts. More funding would allow civil society organizations to bolster their capacity for documenting human rights abuses through forensic analysis, satellite imagery, and gathering testimonies from defectors. This information is crucial for building a case for future accountability processes, including at the International Criminal Court. Increased international pressure. With better documentation and evidence from a more robust human rights movement, the international community could be better informed and mobilized to apply pressure on the North Korean government. This can inform diplomatic efforts and even sanction decisions. Mitigation of humanitarian crisis. Funding human rights organizations helps ensure the humanitarian crisis does not continue unchecked. These groups provide vital on-the-ground information and can help coordinate aid delivery if channels ever open. Right, potential negative outcomes and challenges. Escalation of regime repression. North Korean leaders view the flow of outside information as a threat, and many increase surveillance, arrest, and punishment to maintain control. Experts warn that funding projects that smuggle information could put individuals inside North Korea at severe risk. Risk to aid recipients. North Koreans are at risk of punishment for simply consuming or sharing foreign media. Any increase in activity from funded organizations could increase the danger for anyone involved in receiving or distributing information. Difficulty building infrastructure. Decades of work and expertise were lost during a period of funding cuts. Even with increased funding, rebuilding the infrastructure and human capital necessary for high-impact projects could take years. Operational challenges. The totalitarian and isolated nature of the regime means that operating inside or near North Korea remains extremely difficult. Sanctions can also complicate financial transactions and the delivery of legal humanitarian goods, creating further burdens for aid agencies. The current context in recent years. The North Korean human rights movement has been struggling due to significant funding cuts. Increased funding would reverse this recent decline and prevent further erosion of critical programs and expertise. Some analysts believe that the regime's intensified repression is a sign of weakness, suggesting that increased pressure from a well-funded human rights movement could be more effective than ever. Thanks for listening, everyone. Hopefully you learned about human rights organizations and funding for North Korea. Take care.